All right. Do you mind linking me your Dota buff really quick? Then we can jump into replays or whatever. I just want to see like some important things that usually help.
Like overall stuff.
Yep. Just like
Okay.
playtime and you know what you usually play, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, let's see. Okay, here's my most recent account, and then I have like an older account too.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just look at this one.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll share my screen on Skype as well.
Okay.
All right. So that makes things easy. Okay, so this account is pretty old, but I'd imagine like you didn't actually quit Dota during this time. You like filled this in on your other account, like all this green
Um,
space.
no, actually, I just started playing again. So
Oh, okay.
2000, yeah. So before that, I had an account where let me see if I can look it up. I played a lot of like Nature's Prophet,
Mhm.
and like offlane stuff.
Yeah, it's
Let's
fine.
see.
You don't have to look it up. I mean, I
Okay.
got what I needed here. Um, okay,
Yeah,
so
so I came back and I started picking up different heroes to play, like
mhm.
offlane. I started learning like more control type heroes. So I'm not really great at control type heroes.
Mhm.
Like my
They're pretty tough.
old style, yeah, my old style was like Bulldog, where I just kind of went all over the map, like jumping into fights and just doing crazy stuff.
Okay.
A lot of bounty hunter too. So yeah, the new style is, I mean, I'm doing okay. I just need to learn, mechanics, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that makes
Specific
sense.
things. Yeah.
Do you play like an offlane? Is that what all this
Yeah, I'm
is?
an offlane. Yeah, I
Okay.
play. Yeah, the liking stuff is just me trying to like win pubs and whatever.
Okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get that. I don't have a problem with it. Like, hero picks in general are kind of like pointless in pubs. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
I
Starting to
definitely have
pick that
the
up.
Yeah, I definitely have the philosophy where you should just pick what you want, and like
Yeah.
obviously don't fuck around and like troll and just pick like, oh, I want to play CM offlane. It's really good. Trust me, guys. But really, it just comes down to what you need to practice. You're not
True.
playing at TI, and even TI players do the same thing in pubs, so like, it doesn't matter. Definitely
Okay.
don't worry about that. Okay. I am like a little bit concerned. Like, you stopped playing Nature's Prophet a little while ago, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But a lot of your heroes, with the exception of like Weaver, Slardar Bounty, are like pretty high skill, and it can be tough to like. You said you wanted to focus on mechanics and just get better at that. It
Yeah.
can be hard to do that if you're playing a hero like Nature's Prophet, who is just like so fucking complicated.
It
Like,
is. Yeah.
it's crazy how complicated this hero is. You can
On
obviously,
my other account, I had like a decent win record. Like I was like over 51%. This one,
mm,
I don't know, I just got in a rut, I guess. It was like a huge. I stopped playing too.
mm,
I started like losing a lot, and I was just like, whatever. I stopped playing. So
yep,
yeah.
okay, that's fine. Um,
But
but
yeah,
yeah,
you're right. I definitely can see how, trying to practice those instead of focusing on a little like more simple heroes.
yeah, it's
Be-
like the mechanics on the simple heroes carry over onto the like complex heroes. So like you can
Okay.
pick up the complex heroes later when you have a better foundation. But it's really hard to build a foundation if you're focusing on like I don't know, like what you want the stairs to look like, what kind of trim you want in the living room, shit like that.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying. So
Absolutely.
definitely that is something you need to focus on. Just looking at your hero pool. We can talk about heroes or whatever afterward, but yeah, if you don't have any questions, we can just jump into a game if you want, or
Yeah,
a replay.
sure. Yeah, I definitely had that question later on, like what suggested heroes that you play off. Like what position do you play primarily?
I primarily played off lane, but I mean, I play
Okay.
everything. It
Okay,
doesn't
cool,
really
cool.
matter.
Yeah, so that was my question later on, whenever we kind of wrap back around to it, is,
Mhm.
what heroes off lane that you suggest to practice first and then to
Okay.
get into eased into the role a lot more.
Yeah, we can do that. Well, why don't we
Okay.
wrap up with that? I think that
Sure.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this first Beastmaster game, you guys had Beastmaster, Prophet, Sven, Tinker. Okay. So in part of your role as an offlaner in general, or just like any hero. Okay, I'm getting spammed. One sec. Part of your role as like an offlaner, or just like any Dota hero in a game of Dota 2 in general, is you need to figure out what your role is. Um, and obviously it's not like you need to figure out if you're an offlaner or like a mid or whatever. That's pretty obvious. But like for example, in this game, you're a Beastmaster and you have Sven, Tinker, and Nature's Prophet on your team. So you guys have four cores, and then Dazzle, who's like a very obvious hard support. As Beastmaster in this game, your job is not to like hard carry and do like the most damage. Like your teammates have that covered for sure. You're there for scouting and you're there for control, like you said.
Okay.
So you need to kind of play like that. And I'm not saying don't farm because you know you're supposed to do that, but that's something you need to take note of right away, like as soon as the game starts. Or I shouldn't say that. That's something you should start like thinking about as the game starts. Like, okay, what is the most effective way I can play my hero in this game? Um, you could also do that as Sven. Like Sven is pretty obvious. It's like, okay, I just need to fucking farm and kill everybody
Yeah.
after I get items. But as the offlaner, it's really tricky. It's like very intangible usually. It could be like your only role as the offlaner of that game is to go mid at 5 minutes when their supports are going to rotate and defend your mid. That could be your like one job that game. So that's the trickiest part of playing offlane. But okay. So just like I said earlier, your job this game is to basically scout out all of their gankers. You know, the sort of Legion, Wind Ranger, and all that,
Okay.
and set up key ganks with Tinker. That's like your job at this game at a glance. Did that all make sense?
So, yeah. So what you're saying basically is like offlaner is like a really specific role player, depending on what hero is picked, and I guess the synergy for the team for each
Uh,
match. Again, it can
yeah,
change like a
yeah, that's
lot.
yeah, that's one way to put it. Like,
Okay.
for example, you could play a Beastmaster, and you could be in a game where you absolutely need to do damage. You need to like do like I don't know, maybe 40% of the damage in your team's fights. Just for an example, if you have like a puck on your team and maybe your carry player picks I don't know some really low damage carry like Spectre or something, where she's not going to do any damage for like 30 minutes. In those games, you need to like go fucking ham and like crush people and split push and draw a lot of attention, get kills, and all that sort of thing. Whereas the same hero, like we just talked about, your job is to scout and just stay back and push some lanes, set up key ganks, here and there. But really, you're just like you're there as like a support. So that's the thing with offlane is your role will very often shift, and it's not obvious like in a lot of cases. You just have to like kind of take clues as you get them.
Okay.
Okay. I do like how you described it as like being a role player though. That's a good way to put it. Um, okay. So right away you made a mistake of skilling up axes. That's
Well, one quick thing too. I don't know if
yeah, sure.
it looks like my stream isn't. It looks like my screen isn't updating with what you're seeing. I don't know if we need to
Okay.
up.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll restart the
Okay.
screen sharing thing. Okay. Yeah, let me know whenever it stops. It tends to do that. Okay. Should be good now.
No, it's not for some reason. I don't know. It's still showing the Dota buff screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird. What could that be? Oh, you know what it is? Okay. I'm pretty sure this is it. Alright, it should work in a second here.
Yeah, that's much better. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was running full screen instead of borderless window. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay,
Excellent.
cool.
Alright. Okay, so yeah. So you made a mistake of scaling up wild axes at the start. It's almost always better to go with pets, like your boar and hawk, just because like
Mhm.
these offer more than axes usually, and you don't really have the mana to support using axes. Like the
Okay.
best thing you could do with axes is get a kill, I guess, but that really shouldn't ever happen, especially at level one. So it's kind of unrealistic. I guess you could like break these trees and that would be pretty good, and it would be okay, but really it's not usually worth it. You can also just like you could get the same benefits of breaking these trees as you could with like a scouting boar or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, just the scouting power of the animals is too powerful, I think. And also you can get some residuals, yes, with just like the 25 mana cost of the boar.
True. It's way
Okay.
more efficient.
Mhm. Yeah, there are very few situations where you would skill up axes. Generally, I recommend just like skilling up pets at the start and just casting them both. Just right as you spawn. That way you can get some scouting done. Obviously, you don't want to feed them, and it can be tricky, but yeah. Okay. So also another important thing to do as an offlaner is you need to like identify who you're going to be laning against. This is good for everyone in Dota, but yeah. So in this game, it's a little weird. They have like this is a very like pubby kind of composition they got here, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume this is a jungle legion commander, a mid windrunner, offlane Slardar, or I guess it's support Slardar, whatever. Offlane Timber. I don't know. It's weird shit. So basically, when you see all this and you don't see any good like range supports that are good at zoning you, you can do really well in this game. Um, and that means you can build like you did and go for like laning items and go for stout
Okay.
shields.
I also have that trouble too. Like I'm not really sure when I should pick like a stout shield versus an iron talon. Like I'm
Mhm.
still, I think I'm doing it better, but I think there's certain games where I'm like, I'm not really sure. Is there like just a general rule of thumb, or just always kind of play that
Mm,
by ear depending on the game?
you definitely have to play it like depending on the game. Like if
Okay.
they have a Skywrath mage, it can be really hard for you to lane. But for example, if you have a bounty hunter on your team and you're Beastmaster, you can just kill the Skywrath mage. So it's like it's a little different. It definitely changes like depending on the game. So it's just basically like if you want to put a rule to it, it's like, am I comfortable laning against their supports and their carry? Like, do I think I'm gonna die if I like get stunned once or whatever? Um, in that case, you would buy an Iron Talon and just go jungle, and that'd be really good. But if
Okay.
you're in a situation where you can pressure the safe lane, which you should be able to in this game, if it's a, I don't even know what we decided on, if it's a Windrunner, Pudge, whatever. But yeah, if you think you can pressure the safe lane, then you definitely want to do that. That's always
Okay.
better. Okay. And also, I'm not sure what standard items are on Beastmaster anymore. It's been a while since I've been back. But I do know that Mango is not the best if you don't have a lot of regen. You benefit much more from getting a salve, I think.
Okay.
I generally recommend buying at least 2 sets of regen if you're going to be laning. That's like, it's whatever. It's fine.
I think I got it for some reason because like the stat or something. I think there's like
Mhm.
regen or something on it. But yeah, I can see
Yeah.
how it's just not really beneficial.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Like if you get Tango, Salve, and a Mango, that's totally fine. But
Yeah.
you generally don't need the extra burst of mana on Beast. Like most of your laning power comes from like constant poke and harass, rather than just like bursting someone down or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, you're basically 1v1 with this guy. Okay, so we can just look at lane mechanics then. That is fun stuff. My favorite. All right. So your block was pretty good. You made sure the range creep was not in front, which is good. It's a good habit if you're going to be in a lane where you're pressuring. It's okay to do it if you think you're going to be like 3v1 or whatever, but yeah. Okay. Okay, so here you make a slight mistake. And also, like, it might seem like I'm nitpicking here, but this stuff is really, really
No,
important.
yeah, nitpick away.
Okay, okay, cool. So you go for the CS, which is good, but when Sardar goes for the CS here, you have two options here. Like, you either go for the deny, which is what you choose, or you hit him, which is also fine, but you need to back off at that point. If you go for the deny, that's great, but you need to stand your ground, because, like, he doesn't have any advantage over you here. In fact, he's at a disadvantage. So let's go
Oh,
up
okay.
and pause at the point where you need to make a decision.
Yeah, generally when I play in this lane, I play like really scared because
Mm,
I'd rather just not give up a kill. Like
right.
how I play this is just super safe at all times.
Hmm.
So generally like I do this a lot where I'm like backtracking and like trying to get an eye and then backing off because I'm just
Hmm.
like scared of like somebody's gonna jump me at all times.
Yeah, that's okay. And it's
Yeah.
totally valid in this game because Pudge is just randomly missing. Like, I don't even know where he is actually.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I don't know why I can't see him. Oh, he is right here. Okay. So yeah, you're totally in the right to back off at this point. Like that's completely fine. But if that's the case, then you need to do it a little bit sooner. So I'll start up here. Okay. So when you go for the deny, completely fine. Sardar's going to go for this yes, so he's not going to go for you here. Or he might. That's an option he has. He could just run up and stun you instead of going for this yes, which is probably what would have been better. But either way, you need to back off a little bit sooner. If their supports are showing, like let's say mid gets ganked or whatever, in that case you need to just stand your ground and trade with him
Okay.
because then you have the creep advantage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he denies, then he walks up. He's in the middle of your creeps. He even like he gets hit a couple times by your creeps, so you could get like a slight advantage there, and stuff like that really matters as
So
an
he's
offlane.
just taking more damage, so it's fine just to like okay,
Right,
yeah.
right. In order for him to turn the trade around, he has to crush, and that's using mana. So if you can get him to use mana, that's great.
Okay.
That's another reason why having so much regen is so valuable, is because when you go for trades like that, you gain a little bit of an advantage over time. If you keep trading efficiently, compared to your opponent, as long as the matchup isn't like super imba, like OD versus Beastmaster or something, you'll eventually win the lane. assuming you keep trading efficiently. So that's something to keep in mind. So what this Pudge just did is really, really bad. You don't want to do this in general. He just like randomly walks into lane for no reason. Like this gives you
He
so
showed
much information.
himself.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
gives you so much information. Now all you need to know is like, okay, if I know where he's hooking from,
Yeah,
I
I
don't need to
positioned
like,
myself immediately like to just
yeah,
not be hooked. So,
yeah. He makes your life so much easy. If he stood right here, it'd be completely different because like you wouldn't
yeah.
be able to see him. There's still that looming pressure. But now the only pressure that these guys can put on you is basically like their zoning pressure, if that makes sense. Like their
Yeah.
hero's capability of getting to you and CCing you. That's all you have to worry about. Also, I just realized this guy has no regen except for Soul Ring, so you should definitely be going for trades. Um, yeah, okay. That's fucking awful. Goddamn.
Also,
Alright.
also quickly, I gave you the wrong match ID because I think I saw Timbersaw in this match.
Mhm.
There's a match that I wanted you to see that I was Timbersaw,
Okay.
but this one's fine too because, I mean, we ended up losing this game, but there was like a lot of back and forth or whatever. But
Okay.
I think this intro I did okay as Beastmaster, but
Okay.
I definitely want to get your opinion on how I'm using the bird and stuff. So this
Yeah,
watching this
sure.
game quickly is still fine.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Because I do enjoy Beastmaster because I do feel like he does just control the map really
Mhm.
well and like you can just constantly see what's going on and that's great.
Yeah, he's pretty
Um,
amazing.
I do feel like I need to micro the birds better and maybe put them in better positions. So yeah, I'd like to get your opinion on stuff like that too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That stuff is pretty heady, but it's okay.
yeah.
Um, I do want to say that you generally don't want to cast Bird really early.
Okay.
The best way to use Bird before you're level 5 and you have level 3 Call of the Wild is to block camps. So, like for instance, if they were
Oh,
pulling, the best thing you can do is like summon a bird out of sight and then send it around here. Like you can just shift queue it, like just boom, 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 then send it up here. Like you can just put it
yeah.
in this corner or something. Or you could even put it here and that's fine. And that way, like since the bird is so slow and like it's visible, they have a
Yeah.
hard time killing it. That's how I like to use it anyway. I find that they're not really useful for scouting early on. The boars are a little bit better for that, just because they're a little bit more sturdy. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Obviously, when you get level 3 Hawk, you're totally fine. You can do it for what or use it for whatever.
I think I cast it right there because I thought the Pudge ended up not being that great, but
Hmm.
I was just scared that he was just gonna stand in the trees and just like wait for me to walk up and I'd be
Yeah,
dead.
no,
So
that's totally fine.
yeah.
You just gotta be a little careful because they do give a ton of XP. It's pretty ridiculous. Okay. Okay. So this is something you want to avoid in general. This isn't specific to Beastmaster Slardar. It's specific to anyone with any kind of CC against you. So what's going to happen here is this melee creep is going to die, and then naturally the creep's focus is going to switch to the range creep because it's the next closest target.
Hmm.
So this guy makes a good play, and he stuns you and the range creep. Basically what this does is you're locked in place here, and you also get slowed afterward. He does a lot of damage to the range creep. His creeps focus down the range creep, and then they're going to switch to you naturally before like you get a chance to run away.
Mm.
So he gets a lot of damage out of this in addition to a CS. So you want to basically just try to avoid putting yourself in a position where if you get stunned right now, are the creeps going to like focus you next? Like, are you going to take
Mm.
a lot of creep damage? Because these guys run the lane. Like, okay, okay. So you summon a hawk, send it over there. Okay, good. You microed it well. Okay. Yeah, you scouted the rune, which is pretty good. I'm not sure if it will last long enough, but it'll be pretty close. Okay, it'll
I
be
was also
barely long
trying to
enough.
find like a rotation or like a Pudge or something like that. I was
Hmm.
also scared, obviously, of like you see Legion Commander right there too. So
Yeah. Um,
is there a better spot to put it at?
it's like slightly better. Like since the Hawk's vision is so constricted,
Yeah.
just like when it's this low level, it's a little bit better to put it like, or it's a lot of bit better actually. It's objectively better to put it like on the edge here, just because that'll give you that little extra room, and you can probably see all the way across the river here, like just to this spot here, which would make a big difference, right? Because like
Yeah.
if you think about Pudge's pathing, if he's going to gank mid, like let's say he's going to take the path that Legion just went, he's going to do something like this, or if you follow my cursor, he's going to go around here and do that. Like
Mm.
it's very unlikely that he's going to walk and hug this tree line. So any little bit of extra vision you can give yourself really matters. Don't stress over it by any means. Like that's pretty nuanced. I'd say you have the right idea here, but yeah.
I think that just goes with like I don't. Yeah, I don't think about Pudge's pathing, but now that you brought that up, like, that totally makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that helps.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna speed up a little bit. The
Okay.
rest of this game is like, or rest of this laning phase is basically you get level 5 and then you need to start pushing and pressuring and drawing attention.
Okay.
Slardar can't lane against you at all. Like he can't do shit. The best thing he can do is amplify your boars and try to trade with you. Um, but if you just double stack boars, like he has no options really.
Okay.
Um, the basically Beastmaster's biggest power spike, in my opinion, is level 5. You could argue that level 6 is pretty big because he gets roar and everything, but really what Call of the Wild does in lanes like this, where they can't just automatically kill your boars with range attacks or nukes or whatever, is it just gives you unlimited pushing power. Like this hero draws so much attention to his lane, and if like they choose to ignore you or whatever, you just take the tower or solo kill somebody. So definitely your goal as Beastmaster should be to get level 5 in most games, even if you're not like necessarily a core, so to speak. Maybe you're taking a more supporting role. Um,
Yeah, I never really realized that that was his core power, is having
mhm.
that large of a lane presence.
Yeah, no,
So,
he's
and I
definitely
don't
like,
play him like that. So,
yeah, he's kind of like a light broodmother in a sense, where like if he is left untouched, he has potential to just like completely fucking crush a game, just
okay.
by doing that. Like it's obviously less, crazy, but you know what I mean. So yeah, definitely as soon as you get level 5, that should like it should be go time in your head. Like, okay, I need to start pressuring, and obviously you don't want to die, so you need to keep track of stuff with hawks and all that. Like
Yeah.
while you're pushing, you can put a hawk here in this choke, or you can put one behind tower or something like that. But definitely it's go time at this point. You need to start pressuring the Slardar, because at
Okay.
that point, if you pressure him, you also slow down his blink, right? So that's really good. Okay, yeah, you definitely always want to have two boars out. Like basically, you just cast these on cooldown. Um, while you're in lane. Pretty much always, actually. There's no reason not to.
Okay.
Okay. Why did you opt to go for a Tranquilus? Out of curiosity.
I think I was just following like a build order
Hmm.
or something. Like I don't really know him that well, so
Okay.
yeah. What's better, treads?
I prefer brown boots, honestly.
Oh, okay.
I don't ever feel the need to upgrade until I get bots.
Oh, okay. Better pushing power with bots.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I get bots after like my Necros or Blink or whatever I'm getting at the time. Sometimes you
Okay.
get Vlads, but it's whatever. Definitely, I wouldn't say Tranquils are worth it usually. The only exceptions I can think of are if you're playing against like a Zeus or maybe a Bloodseeker, where you want to be kind of topped off most of the time. But yeah, I wouldn't buy Tranquils personally. Okay.
It doesn't really make sense, I guess, to get tranquils because I'm not really like staying in the lane to fight a lot, or I need to like regen my health. So
Yeah, and most of your trading is like it wouldn't be you trading hits with somebody like one on one melee. It'd be like you kiting them with your boars and letting them do a ton of damage. Okay. So definitely in situations like this,
I
if you
did
have
that again, same move that I
yeah,
did earlier.
mhm. And it's worse now because he can amp you, and he even gets a bash and stuff, which is like total disaster. But it's
Yeah.
okay. Definitely, this would be a different situation though if you had two boars up beforehand. I know he killed one, but like let's look at how much damage these things do. I hope he summon one soonish here. All right, we can just rate it. So boars at this level do 40 damage. I believe that was nerfed since I last played. I think they used to be 60, but either way, that's still a lot of damage. Like that's for instance, the range creep does 23 at this time, so it's double the damage of a range creep at this
Hmm.
point. And range creeps do a shit ton. Like that's pretty much established. Like these things do so much damage. They also slow. So basically, if you had two boars up during this trade, he'd be taking like 80 damage per second, before armor is factored in. So that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
And at that point, like he's in a position where he used sprint to commit and he used his stun, so it's really hard for him to just back off. Like if he's getting hit by the boars, and at that point, like it becomes a little bit weird for him. Like he needs to choose to just back off and take the trade like as it is, which is probably the best option, or he can try to continue going for the kill or whatever. And at that point, you can turn. So that's basically like the long and short of it is I'm trying to say that just have boars up because that it makes you a less attractive target to to someone trying to kill you because you can fight
True.
back. Like
And it's just free damage. Like boars is
yeah,
just free damage. Yeah.
it's literally free. Like 25 mana is absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so that's pretty important. That's okay. Okay. Yeah. So here's another thing. This applies to like pretty much any ranged hero or any hero with like ranged kiting capabilities. But there's like a little dance that you do when you have a melee hero chasing you. Um, Basically, this guy is going to back off as soon as he gets to a point where he's like, okay, I can't stun this guy or I can't hit him. And you kind of need to be trying to predict that. In this case, like he's going to back off when he gets to about your tower's range. So like about, where he backed off at. So let's go back. Okay, so he turns,
Stay in that
starts
sweet
to chase
spot.
you. Yeah, so like basically when you get to right here, as long as there's nobody behind him, you can just stop and turn and like start attacking him with your boar and your hero. Be a little bit careful with your hero and make sure that like he actually is alone. But yeah, at that point, like, I mean, I guess that's like, it's very inconsequential, but it adds up over time. Like a little damage like that, little trades. Like maybe if you do that a couple times and then like he goes for an all-in earlier or goes for an all-in later, you have a better chance of killing him or whatever. Stuff like that matters quite a lot, and it's also just fucking annoying. Like that.
I should
To
have
be candid.
pressured him here too because he has like no mana. I guess he has a soul ring, but
Yeah,
still it's gonna make him lose health, so it's fine.
yeah. You should definitely pressure him. Even if he is full mana, you should pressure him. Honestly,
Okay.
just like keep pressuring and pushing the lane. Sardar's not a hero with a ton of wave clear. Like he doesn't have the ability to kill creep waves very quickly. So when you're Beastmaster and you can kill creep waves very quickly, you naturally have an advantage in lane over him. If you just continuously push, like you're keeping him in one place basically, which is good.
Should I not be like pushing into the tower though, where he just has like free? I mean, if it's in the tower, he can just chill in the tower and get like free last hits, right?
Yeah, but
Or is
it's
that?
well, he's getting free last hits right now, right?
Oh,
Like in
true.
lane. Like if anything, it's harder for him to last hit under tower, like much harder.
Okay.
So like yes, it's true that he could just get perfect CS under tower, but which is more likely, him getting perfect CS when you're not pressuring him in lane, or him getting perfect CS when he's CSing under tower?
So just pressure. Okay.
Yeah, just that the pressure is all that matters really. Worst case scenario, you play against like I don't know Miracle, and he's gonna get every CS. That's like the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
So, and that's not even that bad. And either way, like it's good to do that. Even if he does get perfect CS, it's still good. Because it also attracts attention to your lane. Like, if you're an offlaner and you can stay alive and push the carry and pressure the tower and draw supports up, then you're doing your job. You're doing a great job. At least that's a general rule anyway, assuming you don't, like, chain feed. But, yeah. Alright. So that's the general idea. I want to see where you rotate here. There's a fight going on bottom. Tinker's in trouble. Windrunner dies. Okay. So this is an iffy rotation. It might turn out okay, but it's pretty unlikely. Yeah, it's gone. Okay. Oh. Okay, you guys get him. That's fine.
Yeah, I knew it when I teleported in. I thought the fight was gonna go a lot worse because I saw Pudge and Timber down there, and I saw like half health teammates. So I was like, oh crap, I better TP. But yeah, I mean, and I kind of figured too. I was like, well, if it does go well, at least I'm there to push because I saw Prophet down there too. So yeah.
So, I think this is an okay play. If it was like someone who was higher MMR, I would say it's bad, but it's understandable. Basically, this fight is over before you even like look down here. Like, there's not much you can do to contribute here. You end up getting the kill on Timber, but really that's, in my opinion, his mistake. I don't know why Timber saw whatever run into a group of trees to get away when he can just like run here and then hook away or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's beside the point. Yeah, so Timber goes in. Tinker gets pretty chunked, and Windrunner just dies right away. Like Windrunner said before the fight starts. And then this is a level 4 Pudge in the middle of 3 heroes. Like, in the God Strength Sven and level 8 Tinker. Like, this Pudge is
Bad
so dead.
positioning.
He is so dead. He's unbelievably dead. The best thing that could happen is like he hooks Tinker and maybe kills him, but that's pretty unlikely. So Timber pieces as well. So this fight is basically over before you even TP, like before you even press the button. So the result is actually pretty good. Like you guys get to push this tower, and I'm assuming you just take it right away. Let's speed up. You get the Timber kill. That's great. Kind of his mistake, so you couldn't really plan for that, but it's okay. So you guys push the tower here, but what does this mean? This means that these 2 lanes are open, and they're not really taking advantage of this because they're stupid, just to be frank. And Sardar's not pushing either, so what would happen if you were playing against better players is Sardar would, as soon as he sees that you're gone, or he sees that you're bottom, he just starts chain pushing. Like he starts pushing every wave. He spams all his mana. He starts hitting the tower, and what that does is it signals to your team like, oh shit, like okay, our top tower is being hit by a Sardar or whatever. If we don't TP up there, we're gonna lose a tower, and that like causes some unease. It causes some uncertainty. It puts pressure on you. So instead, he chooses to freeze the lane and like push it really slowly, which is bad. Yeah. So, and again, if Legion Commander was paying attention, she would have rotated towards mid and pushed this out because this was frozen here before Wonderner got here.
Yeah.
And this is something that's like their best play. So they would pressure you in 2 lanes while you guys were hitting 1 tower, which is fine. That's still good for you guys, but it's something you need to keep in mind when you go for these kind of TP plays because this same
Okay.
thing could happen if you weren't here. Like if you were top lane and your team was pushing bottom, it's 100% a win for you guys. Because that means like you're not all committing to killing the same 4 creeps in the same tower. You're farming this top lane, or like attracting attention up here at the very least, while your team is pushing bottom, and they can't pressure you top. The best thing that could happen for them is for them to push mid while their
It's like a
teammates respawn.
trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it'd be a trade if how do I explain this? It'd be a trade if they were pushing 2 lanes while you were pushing 1. That would be a trade. Or if they like both committed to going top tower and just killing this tower, that would be a trade. But if you were in a position where you stayed top lane and you continued pushing this while your team was pushing bottom, then it would not really be a trade, honestly. Like yeah, they could like say you're trading CS for towers or whatever, but that's not that's not really worth it.
Okay.
So basically, I don't want to say like don't TP to places, but definitely like try to have a goal in mind when you do it. Like, don't just TP because you think your team needs you or whatever. There has to be like a clear objective in mind, or like, I'm TPing here to kill this guy, and I couldn't, like, my team couldn't do that without me. It's a really important decision to make, and it's really, really hard. So don't like stress out about it, but it's something that I want you to be aware of anyway.
Okay.
Okay, so let's speed up a little bit. CTP back top, that's fine. It's like this tower should probably be dead at this point, but that's okay.
Yeah, I was pretty happy when it wasn't.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed. I was like, wow, okay, we still have top. This is great. So I
Mhm.
just like TP back top.
Right.
But yeah, that's something I didn't realize about Beastmaster is, his lane presence and how he can push. I mean, obviously he's got creep, but I don't play him like that now. I think I
Right.
should definitely play him like that now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like Beastmaster's one of those heroes that like he can just do everything in pubs that you need. Like
Yeah.
his biggest weakness is he doesn't scale super well. But
Yeah.
he's at least a very good control hero late. But for the first 30 minutes of a game, like you're really strong, assuming you get a good lane. Okay, so I like the Hawk scent. That's good. It's a good scouting hawk. It's in a good spot. You can see like potential TPs, but most importantly, you see rotations. You guys get the tower, great. Okay. So at this point in the game, you need to like you always need to be looking at the map, obviously, but when you see 3 people just showing on the map, like they were just down here, you basically need to like kind of think about what their next move is. It's pretty obvious in this case that they're going to push bottom if 3 people just like randomly show down here and you only have one
Yeah.
teammate here. I don't know why Sven's still here, but that's okay. So their move is pretty obvious. They want to kill Sven or get the tower, preferably both. So at this point, the best thing you can do is have a TP ready and push the fuck out of this top lane.
Okay.
And then it's like, yes, if they kill Sven and get the tower or whatever, that's fine. You'll get their T2. And that's a really good trade for you guys. Preferably Sven doesn't die because it's like unnecessary, but trading T2s for T1 is always worth it. Okay. So you have the right idea here. You send a Hawk out to scout, and you start pushing. And you force a TP. And at that point, like, you need to flick a switch and be like, okay, go bottom. Like, it doesn't matter who's TPing or what. Like, as long as you guys can fight, just go bottom right away. Because then you'll have a numbers advantage. Because Prophet
Okay.
can TP up as well. So, like, if you TP bottom right now, like, even Sardar's TPing away. What the fuck is this? Okay. But either way, you should go TP bottom and just try to get catch here. Don't do it, like, blindly. Like, don't just randomly do it. You have to, like, see people and have a clear target. But if you have so many people on your team who can TP and, blink stun or whatever, then just, like, try to pull the trigger at that point and rotate. Because you've already forced a rotation top, so you automatically have a numbers advantage. Okay, so it looks like you guys end up doing that. Somebody TP'd bottom. Oh, you ended up going mid. That's totally fine as well. Like, this is a completely fine play. Like, it basically, your teammates already filled the role of you TPing down here and getting a numbers advantage, and you guys get a kill off it, so that's good. But basically, this is all possible because of this, like, this push top, and that's not usually that obvious.
Yeah.
It's not something you're aware of. So this pressure was really huge. Because like he forced Legion and Slardar to TP top. Well, they probably didn't have to, honestly. Like they probably could have just sent like, I don't know, Timber or something. They could have ganked Sven
Yeah.
anyway. But either way, you forced them to make a mistake.
I think that's what I had in my head because I saw Slaughter TP out because
Hmm.
I was gonna go bot and I saw Legion come top and I was like, well, this is great. So then I was like, I'm just gonna push mid because they're putting a lot of pressure at bot. So
Right.
yeah, that's what I was planning on doing.
Okay, that's good. Okay,
I
so
guess I could just put more. I don't know why I went to the jungle. I should just stayed in the lane.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
You gotta be a little careful because at that point they were all missing. But you're
yeah.
Beastmaster. You can get out of most stuff. As long as you send Hawks to like where you think the most likely paths are. So like right here would be a good spot, or maybe one
Okay.
behind tower. Like you can sneak it in here, something like that. That would be good. Maybe even in river, I want to say. But yeah, as long as you're doing that, like you're usually pretty safe. You have to keep in mind that they have blinks at this point on two heroes. Yeah, Slardar, Legion.
They have pretty
Okay.
relatively, I mean, fast blinks, right?
Yeah, it's sort of. Slardar should have had his much sooner. At like
What's
nine
a good
minutes.
time? Yeah, because I play a lot of Slardar now too. What's a good time to get blink on Slardar?
Well, it depends on what you get before it, but if this
Yeah.
in this case he went like brown boots, soaring, white stone, and then blink, he should have at like 9 minutes, something like that.
Okay. Interesting.
Um, yeah,
Is that a good build to just stay with Brown? I guess you could just stay with Brown Boots because he has sprint, right? And then it
I
gets you a
like.
faster blink.
No, I think it's bad. I think shards are too valuable on a hero that or I'll switch that up and say that treads are good because they have attack speed, and attack speed is valuable on Slardar because of bash. Um,
Okay.
that's just how it is, in my opinion, anyway. I think they're too valuable to pass up.
I usually get the green boots, but maybe that's a bad idea then. I think you're right.
Oh,
Treads.
well, he's carry Slardar. He's carry
Okay.
Slardar, so it's different. In the case of offlane Slardar, like tranquils are totally fine. They're really good.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because you're constantly roaming and stuff. Like that's completely different.
Okay.
Basically carry Slardar it does damage, and offlane Slardar can do damage, but really your goal is usually like
Blink
control.
stuns.
Yeah, he's like a control hero. You're really slippery. You're an annoyance
Yeah.
more than anything. Um, so yeah, it's totally fine to get tranquils on offlane Slardar. That's cool. Okay, so you end up going for BKB first. Okay. What was your rationale for this?
Um, I don't know. I felt like I was just like when I jumped into fights, I was gonna get targeted, so I just go B. I like BKB because I think it's just like a great thing to always have, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know.
Okay. Well, it'll keep you alive,
Yeah.
but well, it won't even necessarily do that because they have dual and amplify damage and like dismember. So they have two BKB piercing disables. So
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. So.
yeah, it's bad for those two reasons, but mainly like if you think about your role in this game, it's not to jump into fights and do damage, right? Like
Mm.
if you were Sven, for instance, like okay, BKB maybe it's an okay option. It's really not because they have two BKB piercing disables, but it would be okay because you would like survive a little bit longer. But in this case, your job is to cast Roar, provide vision for your team, and just be annoying and like cancel blinks and stuff with your boars. Your job is not to jump in and fight and like go ham with your axes or whatever. So BKB is kind of useless for you. You benefit much more from having a blink or a Necronomicon, just because like those are very low commitment items. Like blink is it's such a versatile item, right? Like you can blink initiate and then blink out, eventually when you kite or whatever. Um, you can do anything with it. And Necronomicon is like, okay, you just press the button, then you micro the pets, and like you can keep your hero way out of the fight, so you don't actually end up being in any danger, while still contributing a lot with true sight and a lot of damage and the auras and all that. Um,
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes
s-
sense.
so by building the BKB, you're like, yes, you're allowing yourself to kind of like jump into the fight or whatever, but then you're a BKB Beastmaster with Tranquil Boots and a Stout Shield and an Iron Talon. It's like you're not scary. You're not going to do any damage or any more damage than you would if you had Necro. Um, so yeah, that's just
Gotcha.
something to think about when you're going for items. I'm pretty sure there are like I want to say there are like two options pretty much on Beastmaster for your first major item. That's Blink and Necro. I don't think there are any exceptions to this really. I mean, I've seen people go Vlad's, but that's usually like a support Beastmaster or jungling or whatever, and that's like a specific comp. I would say these two things are like the only thing you would ever buy on this hero.
Makes sense. Pushing power and like great initiate to just jump in and roar somebody. So yeah,
Right,
I agree. Yeah.
right. So you would go
My job
Plinkage.
isn't to go in and yeah. When would what kind of Beastmaster does use that? Like the Wild Axe? Would that ever be like an offlane Beastmaster at all?
I don't think any kind of Beastmaster, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't make sense. Like if you want to pick a nuking hero, why wouldn't you pick Lina or something
Right.
like that? Like or maybe a hero with a stun. Like even I don't know, Bane would be a better option in that case. Like
Right.
then he has single target CC, which is better than yours, and he also has a nuke that's better than yours. So I would say that you should definitely focus on the strengths of Beastmaster, and that's with his summons and like map pressure. Um, Now it's okay to build damage items, like it's okay to get like an AC or something, but the damage items that Beastmaster buys always make his summons better, or
Yeah.
make his teammates stronger or whatever.
Well, and AC is a team item too, so I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like you're very rarely gonna buy a BKB just to like jump in and fight people. Like that's not how this
Okay.
hero is really played. Yeah. Okay. Let's speed up a little bit. Actually, what time are we at here? Okay, plenty of time. Cool. So I think we can talk about Hawks a little bit more, and then
Yeah.
we'll jump to a different replay.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to jump to that Timber Saw replay because I mean that's the next two replays that
Mhm.
we look at are actually like my team that I play with,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a lot better play. Like one scrim is like a team that played in like TI qualifiers.
Okay.
The other one's just a pub, but I mean I'm with my team and it's just usually better players that way.
Yeah.
So
No, that's usually pretty different. Okay.
yeah,
That's cool.
a lot better scenario.
Okay. Well, in that case, why don't we just jump to that replay then? Because like,
Yeah, let's just do that.
yeah, let's just do
I
that.
didn't mean to send you a problem, but I mean, I still learned a lot about,
No, no, no. That's totally
just
fine.
picking towards a character's, how like his kit. Those are things I don't really think about, so
Hmm.
that was definitely helpful.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
Well, let me find the replay here.
Yep. Sure. No rush.
Let's see. Yeah, okay. Copy and paste it into Skype.
Okay. 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 So your Timber, and you said this is with your team.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a pub match, but with my team. So
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So you guys have an interesting lineup here. Um, okay, I like the Kunkka. It's pretty good this game. My problem with this lineup is like you guys seem like you pick three heroes who all do the same or do similar things,
okay,
which isn't necessarily bad. Um, but you pick like three split pushing heroes that are really slippery, and they eventually transition into like carry roles. Timber is like the least similar, or is not as similar to Storm and Anti Mage as these two are to each other, but um, yeah, it's just like a something to note is like all of your cores do kind of similar things. So the reason why that's bad is like okay, something that counters anti-mage is single target CC that's instant, like hexes or Batrider Lasso. Something that counters storm is instant CC, like hexes or Batrider Lasso. Something that counters timber is hexes or instant CC.
mm.
So they can pick one hero that counters all of your heroes in this case. And I didn't see the draft order, so like it could be totally different depending on how you drafted the heroes. But that's just
So the
something you
same
want to keep
things
in
that
mind.
makes us strong, I guess what you're saying is like could do us in too. Like it can
Yeah,
make
it
us
could it
yeah.
could if it's used against you, it could be an issue. It's not necessarily like that's the case, and it also relies on the enemy team like drafting and playing correctly around it. But it's just something to think about, really. Okay, that being said, like it's more than enough to win a pub. Like, doesn't the hero picks don't really matter that much. Okay, so you would go Stout Shield and Ring of Protection. I think you definitely would benefit more from a salve. Actually, one of my favorite builds on Timber is going Stout Shield, one set of Tango, and then double Mango. I found that like the regen with the reactive armor is fucking ridiculous when you combine it with mangoes. That's just something that I do personally. I don't know what professionals do or whatever. I haven't really seen them play that much, but I find that to be really good personally.
Yeah, that seems like a good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like it's really annoying to play against if you're a support that doesn't do a lot of damage. Downside is you don't have much armor except for with the reactive armor. So okay, so you get pooled obs and sentries. That's good. Okay. One thing that all of you guys can improve on, just as a general note, is you all stay in the fountain for so fucking long. Like it's crazy. You guys are in
Yeah.
here buying your items like for 20 seconds or so. You kind of want to ideally get it to the point where like it's automatic and you kind of just like you can just like click on all these items like boom 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 boom. Okay, I want Tango, 2 mangoes, and a stout shield, and I know that before the game starting. I know where they are in my item list, and I can just do it and get out here in like 3 seconds into the game.
Okay.
Obviously, it's different. And you have to wait for a ward and stuff, but that's the ideal situation. Because you guys just lost like 30 seconds to just sitting here, and that means that these guys are going to beat you here. You can't get a ward down without them seeing you, no matter what, which sucks. You don't really need it, but it certainly makes your life easier. So something to think about. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I have a problem with this. So basically, when you're an offlaner, you either ward conservatively, or you TP here and you ward deep. That's just, I think those are the only two options, honestly, other than not warding. So in this case, like, it's a little awkward because Dire offlane doesn't really have any good ward spots, unless they're like in deep or whatever. And even the ones in here are like not that great. So if you ward conservatively, it has to be something like here or maybe here, but this is like pretty iffy. It's tough to get. Um, yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to say is like, if you're going for a ward in here, you're not going to get it down without somebody seeing you. If they're smart anyway. And this guy is like relatively smart. He's like in a position where he can scout you. Really, he should be standing like right here, so you can't get anything off. But yeah. Now he'll see if you get the ward down, and he can very easily deward it with sentries, which he doesn't even have actually. So he's not smart, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an okay word spot. I think in the future. Wait, what? Actually, what's your rationale for replacing this?
I didn't want to block the camp. I wanted to see if they pulled it, so I could just go over there and like grab the EXP if I needed to.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
In that case, you should just put it down like a little bit, like because
Oh,
that will
okay.
still not block the camp, but you get like so much more access to vision in here, and you can also see if they pull the small camp.
Oh, right, that camp. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
hmm
Okay.
It just like it's pretty much the same thing except better, right? It's like an upgraded version. So
Again, I'm just playing scared, and I'm putting it so I can see people like walk over and try to
mhm,
kill me, basically. So I need to
mhm.
just get over that, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, you can like playing scared is okay. Well, playing conservatively is okay. Playing scared is not.
Okay.
And yeah, this will like if you just place it down like straight down, you'll still get the exact same coverage. Like it'll go out to here. You'll see people crossing or whatever, and you'll still get this vision as well.
Okay.
So that's just an efficiency thing. That's okay. Okay. So you end up walking into lane. First thing you should do when you're in a lane, like as Timbersaw, or pretty much any melee offlaner, when you're in a lane where they can't really kill you instantly, like in a stun or whatever, is you want to aggro these creeps. So you just walk up to the creeps, attack move them, or attack move the enemy hero, and then drag them back. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you definitely want to do that, and like bring the lane over closer to your side. And also right here, like you don't have to be scared. Like you have a serious creep advantage. In fact, it's bad for you to be scared here. As soon as this creep dies, like they don't have the creep advantage anymore. If they choose to go on you, they're going to be tanking 2 melee creeps and a range creep. So as long as you don't let them kill you and you like continue like spacing properly and everything, um, yeah, okay. So you would be fine, but you end up overcommitting a little bit here. Basically, what I'm trying to say is like, know when the enemy or know when it would be disadvantageous for the enemy to go on you, like, and when it would be advantageous for them to go on you.
Okay.
Like, and it's not as easy as just knowing, unfortunately. But in this case, like, you end up going for a CS here when there are 2 enemy heroes here, which is okay. Actually, you're going for a deny. Okay, yeah. So this is really bad. Okay, so I thought this was a CS, and you were like trying to get it or whatever, and that'd be a little different, but it's still bad. You're going for a deny here, and it's like let's think about the opportunity costs or the like what you're missing out for going for this deny. Um, it's basically all just HP, right? Like you're at pretty much full HP when this starts. But then these guys, they make a good play and they start just hitting you right away. If anything, they should commit right away and just start hitting you even more. Because they know you can't
Yeah,
do
he
that
should
to
have
the chain
just
away.
kept like moving up, and or Witch Doctor just kept moving up and attacking me. They would
Yeah.
get.
I
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I think you just die here if they continue hitting you instead of backing up. I don't know why they didn't do that. But either way, long story short is like you need to wait for your timing in order to go in, and you need to like pick your battles effectively. Like it's almost never worth it to trade HP for a deny as an offlaner. Whereas if you waited here and you just waited for this creep to get a little bit lower, you could go in for the last hit, and then they have to fight you in the creeps, and that's like okay at that point. Um, like you obviously don't want to just like commit and like continue 2v1ing them, but you can go for the last hit and then back off, and then they'll take creep damage if they choose to go on you or whatever. Um, it's basically just like you kind of have to play or how do I play it? How do I say this? Yeah, you kind of have to play chicken with them. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
you know they can't kill you, but you know they might try, and you know they'll take damage if they try. So you want to try to get them to do that. And it's like it's a really weird balance to learn, and you're never going to be perfect at it. Nobody ever will be. But it's something you need to like start
Just have to
considering.
fill out how they're playing their heroes, I guess, right in the lane.
Yeah, pretty much. Like ideally you know exactly what their heroes can do and exactly how much damage they can do. So that way you know like, okay, so if this guy plays this situation perfectly, I will die here if I go for the CS or whatever. That's like the ideal scenario. That's the dream. Okay. Also for CS like this, if you're a little bit closer to the lane, you can just use the aggro trick to like pull them individually. And that way, like if they try to go for the deny or whatever, they have to, walk back into your creeps, or the Witch Doctor's auto attack has to travel a little bit farther. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you're in a familiar situation here where the enemy messed up their creep equilibrium. Like when they have two range creeps, that means they messed up. And the only way to
It's
correct
gonna
this,
push.
yep, yeah, it's gonna push your tower. So the only way for them to correct this is either pull this camp or pull the small camp or whatever, and make sure you don't get that XP, or they can kill you before like the creeps die and before they get to your tower. So that's like the only two options they have. Or I guess like option 3 is like they let the creeps go to your tower and then you get a shit ton of XP, which is great. That's the one you want. Um, the worst thing you can possibly do here is die. That would be a fucking huge disaster.
Yeah.
Like just because like not only because you die and that's bad, like dying is not good obviously, but if you die, that means they can push and all of this XP just goes to the tower and dies and you'll never get it. Like while you're gone. Then you TP in, the lane's reset, it's back here, and you're fucked. They can't do anything. So that's the worst thing that could happen. So when you go for the CS, you kind of have to consider that. Like they have the creep advantage, so you can't trade at all advantageously. And also if you get the CS and they choose to go on you, it could be really bad for you. You have Timber Chains, so you're probably not going to die, but you just need to keep this in mind when you go for things like this.
Okay.
Okay, so they ended up not going that aggressive on you, but I think like there's a chance that you die here. Right here. So if they get a lucky bounce and a Maledict on you, I think you die. Assuming PL nukes. Because at this point, like, you don't really have anywhere to chain to, really. Um, like, you would if you walk up to, like, here, and you can get to this tree, but I think you die before that point. So just keep that in mind. Like, this is a really scary scenario.
So what should I do? Just kind of just get
Oh, yeah.
regen and kind of stand back, or what?
So let's look at like what happened before this. So when you see that the wave is pushing, you just want to stay in XP range and like get the CS that you can. Like if they're for whatever reason, if they're playing way back here and they're really afraid of you, by all means get the CS. That's totally fine. But if they're playing up on you like this, just give them some space. Make sure you stay in XP range and wait for the wave to push. Like all you need to do is wait for your time, and the creeps will push to you.
Also, it's still fine for me because Witch Doctor is messing up by being in lane so much, right? Like him being there is just not good.
Well, not necessarily, but I mean they're denying you pretty well. Like he has more XP than you, and that means PL has more XP than you. So they're winning the lane. Like, yes, it's true that like okay they could be doing better by Witch Doctor pulling, but just because they're not playing it optimally, it doesn't mean that you are.
Gotcha.
Okay, so like you're gonna get a lot of XP here and catch up, and you'll get level 3 here. So you'll end up being like pulling ahead or whatever. But yeah, that's just something to think about. You're not necessarily wrong though. Like if this continues, then you will eventually be winning the lane. But it's not about just beating somebody who's not playing well. It's about like playing as best you can every game. and like,
True.
trying to improve what you think the best is, or what you think your best is rather. So yeah, okay. You get the last sets, it's good. You even get a big creep, very kind of them to give you. Okay. You went for 2 points in reactive armor. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Is
Okay.
this like standard in pro games or whatever?
I don't think so. I haven't watched a ton of pro Timbersaws, but it makes
Okay.
sense to me just because I'm in off lane and I just feel like I guess chain is more important.
hmm Yeah, I
So
think I think chain is just better because it's a nuke and it's also your way to like get around and escape. Like it's not
okay.
necessarily your an escape tool, it's also your ability to engage. Um, I think levels in chain are too valuable to pass up personally. Maybe it'd be different if you were like 1v1 against somebody and you knew you guys were going to be down there alone for a while, and then like you'd benefit more from the regen. But I think in most cases, if you're not 1v1, you go chain first, and just max this out because this is your killing spell as well.
And that's something I think I need to work on more because I didn't realize that about Timbersaw was his
Mhm.
chain does the most damage. So I was playing him like the other way, like using his ult and then the Q. Yeah,
Right.
Whirling Death.
Well, you definitely like chain doesn't do the most damage. Like
Okay.
his other spells do more, but chain is up the most often. Like it's a 4 second cooldown compared to a 6 second, so the
Mm.
DPS is higher than Whirling Death or whatever. Like you still like Chakram and Whirling Death are still amazing damage spells, but chain is like chain has weird value to it, right? Because it does damage. Like yes, that's like the surface costs, or like how do I say this? That's the superficial level, but it also allows you to do more damage because it puts you in a better position. The same way a blink dagger does, right? So
Oh
like
yeah.
a Sven does a lot of damage, but if he doesn't have a blink dagger, then it's really hard for him to actually do any damage. Like he has to physically walk up to people, and Timber's the same way. So it has like hidden value to it when you put points in it. Okay. So I'm going to speed up a little bit. So I think you get the gist of my feelings in this up
Yeah.
until level 6. It's just you kind of kite, get CS where you can. Definitely want to avoid situations like this where you take a lot of damage, but it's okay.
I should basically not be half health in a lane and like right? Like
Sort
how
of.
far down?
I think like, I mean, really, there's like an exact number, but I don't know that number. It's like the exact amount of damage that these guys can do, assuming they play perfectly. And that would be where you were unsafe. Ideally, I'd say like as an offlaner, you generally want to be at like 90% HP usually if you're against a lane with good kill potential. But I mean that I think the question is a bit too general, honestly. Like it depends on so many different things. Like you could be 25% HP in lane, but they're 5 top, or like PL is really low, so if he engages, like you just kill him, or like Witch Doctor is really low, so if they engage, you just kill him and get away because PL has no mana. Like there are so many different variables there.
Sure.
I wouldn't really stress it so much. Just go based off feel, and try to also think about it a little bit when you're playing. Like, okay, I looked at PL and he only has mana for one spell, or he only has mana for two spells, like only one Spirit Lance. So I know that like I only need to worry about that. Then like approximate his attack damage, all that stuff. Definitely don't stress about the actual numbers though. Okay. So another issue with the reactive armor build is like yes, you're gonna get a lot of regen and you'll be really tanky in lane, but you have no way to pressure these guys now, really. Like when you hit 6, you'll have considerably more damage, but you won't have enough to actually get a kill in most cases, unless Witch Doctor messes up, which is pretty likely, honestly. But if you had gone for Whirling or the Timber Chain build instead, like you would actually have like serious kill potential on the Witch Doctor, or even PL. Honestly, like at this
Yeah.
point, if you're level 6 and you have maxed out Timber Chain, like this guy he has to walk away. Like in this exact scenario, even if Witch Doctor is here, I don't even care about him. If you Chakra him, Timber Chain through, and Whirling Death at the same time, he's like instantly, he needs to get out right away. Needs to be gone out of lane. He has to go back. Like he has no other options. He just gets nuked down and like has to leave. And that's huge. If you can just push their carry out of lane, that's amazing. So definitely, this is definitely a big deal here. And maybe there's some truth to the idea that like okay, you wouldn't be as high HP in this case, but how do I explain this? Like by being able to do so much damage in this lane, you kind of have effective HP that way. Because if PL is so fucking low that he can't even walk up to you anymore, like he's not gonna do any damage to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's definitely an issue in this case. Okay, looks like okay, you barely live. So your reactive armor actually saves you here, which is pretty funny. But yeah, either way, I think my point is still correct.
That was too close to. That was just too close. I didn't
Mhm.
like that. I didn't like that. That was so close. So
Right,
whenever I was walking away, I was definitely not happy that
right.
that almost happened.
Yeah, you don't want to get pushed out of lane for sure. That's pretty
Yeah.
bad. Another thing about this is like you tried to timber chain away, and you would have been able to do that if you had more levels in it or whatever. Like, because it increases the range by a lot. So something to think about as well. Also, now that I'm looking at it, like I haven't talked about your camera control that much, but I have noticed when you're running away from something that you tend to just like ignore where your hero is, which is okay if you know where you're going. But I think if anything, like you don't need to be watching this space when you're trying to run away, right?
True.
Like, okay, let's look at your perspective. Okay. So Witch Doctor pops on you. You instantly know he's there. And you instantly know that you get Maledict and Spirit Lance cast on you. Okay, that's fine. You start running away. At this point, you kind of like really need to keep in mind where these two are. You need to know like pretty much exactly where they are at all times. Like yeah, they're going to be chasing you, but where their position really matters. And you can't really know if you're just like if your camera's like this and you're like clicking away towards the tower or whatever. Try to get into the habit of when you're running away or when you're chasing somebody to keep flicking towards them. Like, okay, I'm going to input a move command under this tower because that's where I want to run. And then I'm going to look back and, check these guys' inventories or mana or whatever just to get any more information. Like, you don't need to watch your hero run, basically, is long and short of it. Like,
Okay.
it's kind of like useless information because, like, you know for certain that if you click under this tower and you right click, that your hero is going to try to move there. Like, that's 100% certain. But you don't know if Witch Doctor is going to like take some really dumb path and like put himself in danger or whatever, or PL is going to back off prematurely and leave Witch Doctor vulnerable, or vice versa. Um, and you can't know that unless you're like actually looking at them or like gathering information. So definitely like try to avoid the mindset of just being like, okay, I need to run, and click under your tower or whatever. Like try to stay calm, if that makes sense. This is usually
Okay.
that's like something that's brought on by panic. Okay. So you got mana for your arcanes, or you go tranquils.
I made a mistake here. I was like, wait, what?
Oh, you want to go Soul Ring? Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually the worst. I hate this. I hate this part of Dota. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See by throwing. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, where'd your Ring of Protection go? I think you might have sold it. Okay. Well, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay, so getting pushed out of lane costs you your tower, which is pretty big. Kind of sucks. It gives you some space to farm, but yeah. Okay. Okay, so you start getting points in Timber Chain, which is great. Okay. Okay. Bunch of stuff to talk about here.
Yeah. I know. I need to work on my fight mechanics a lot.
Yeah.
I just don't. Something. I think it happens to everybody, but something just like turns off in my head, and I'm not thinking correctly or
Mhm.
something. I'm not focusing on the right person at the right time.
Well,
And it happens a lot with Timbersaw because I mean he has a lot of stuff in his kit.
yeah, he has a lot of things he needs to be doing, and it needs to be very precise, like your positioning and your movements and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we even talk about the fight, I want to talk about something else that relates to every fight. Part of Dota, I would say like 40 to 50% of Dota is like information gathering, like just looking at your screen and taking in all of the information that's available, and like moving your map and clicking on heroes and stuff. And this is something that like really really matters in team fights, probably more than at any point in the game, because when there's like if your screen is like this and there are 10 heroes on your screen, like that is so much fucking information. Like there's so much going on. Each hero has at least 4 spells. They have items. They have HP values that affect the way spells are cast. Their positioning matters. Like you need to know how they're gonna cast their spells. All these sort of interactions just make the game fucking like ridiculous. Like It's impossible to keep track of everything, but knowing what you need to look for before the fight starts is what is like really important, and it makes your life a little bit easier. Um, so that's something you can do is just think about like what spells I need to look out for, like what spells can kill me or whatever. But really, I think what I want you to do, and this is what I tell pretty much everyone that's below 6K or whatever, is try your best to like stay present when you're team fighting, and don't just like get locked into the like, okay, this is a team fight. I need to press all my buttons on the nearest person and just like go on them. Like try to actively look around while the fight's happening. Like the fights are actually fairly slow in comparison to
Yeah.
like other things. Like they're not actually that fast in most cases anyway. Like they're very
Well,
rarely
yeah,
over in an instant.
yeah. When I'm watching a pro replay and I'm watching the fights, I'm like, this fight's really slow. But like when I'm actually in it, I feel like it goes 10 times faster.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
That's just like it's perception being a bitch. Like it's
yeah.
so annoying that it's like that, but that's how it is. But it's really not as fast as you think it is. So if you just like slow it down a little bit in your head and like try to take in everything that's happening, or at least like expand what you are able to take in. Um, that sounded really sexual. Anyway, all right. Anyway, uh, where was I? What was I even talking about? Okay, so try to like expand your vision, I guess, in game, and like keep trying to increase your awareness of what's going on.
Okay.
That's something that's really hard to do. And that's something that like I didn't start doing until like probably about a year ago. But that's something that helps me so much. Like it's pretty incredible actually. Um, definitely recommend trying to do that. I don't have any tips for that, unfortunately. It's just like
Practice.
yeah, it really is just like force yourself to look around more in fights. Like you'll notice when you watch Miracle or RTZ or like any top tier carry player, their cameras go fucking crazy in fights. Like they're constantly shifting back to their heroes. Like okay, I'm looking at this. All right, going back. All right, going here. Like they're taking in information this whole time, and it's not just like wasted APM or whatever. Like there's actually a reason for it. Um, so I definitely try to apply that. Like don't feel the need to like make your camera look like RTZ's or whatever. Just like try to look for more. That's basically the long and short of it. Okay, so I'm gonna start up here. Alright, so you TP in. Key things to note here are your Storm used most of his mana. Cold Embrace was already used by your Wyvern, so they can't protect you with that. X marks the spot was cast, so they can't use that for a catch anymore. And that's pretty much it so far. I don't think Lasso was used yet. Okay. So let's look at ideal
That Chaco
targets.
wasn't the best. I thought maybe they were gonna disengage or something because they saw Void was low health.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna cut him off with this chakra, but it ended
Mhm.
up not working in my favor because it didn't really do that much damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just barely hits them, and then now I'm just chasing at this point, which is
Mhm.
I didn't like this fight.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue here is your target selection was poor. I think despite Void being so low here, he's still a Void, and he still needs to die like really quickly. Otherwise, he's going to be annoying.
Could have just finished him off. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely should just Timber Chain onto him and go for him, and just Whirling Death. You don't have to
Yeah,
use
'cause he
Shotgun
got.
on him.
I didn't see that he gets away for a second. Like he
Mhm.
could have just gotten away.
Yeah, and that's extra time for your Storm to spend, like chasing him, and like he has to use a little bit of mana and everything to kill him. So that's pretty rough. Whereas if you just Timber Chain here, like you walk here and then Timber Chain across, Whirling Death, he dies instantly. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then at that point, like the fight changes a little bit. These two will probably run away after that, but maybe they won't. Who knows? So you should definitely go for
Also,
that.
I
in
walked
case.
right into fire. That was just
Mhm.
really stupid. I should
Yeah,
have done.
yeah, that doesn't matter so much. Like you're Timber, you're fine. As long as you
Yeah.
don't stay there and just like die, you're okay. Um, okay. Okay, so there's one slight thing that you can do better here. I think the replay is bugged. I'm pretty sure these trees are dead because these creeps are just walking. Yeah, they just die. Okay, so you could have Timber Chained across right here to this tree. That would have been really good because that would have. I think you would have hit two people, and you also would have been in a really good spot. So like from here, you Timber Chain. Yeah, you hit two. You do a lot of damage. Whereas here, you're not really in a good spot. Basically, is the easiest way to say it.
Yeah.
Because you can't really do that much damage. Okay. So you get maledicted. Okay. So this is another point where your target selection is kind of poor. I think you were tunneling a little bit on too many, or you were tunneling on two different things actually. You were tunneling on chasing the void, which is fine. You need to get out or whatever, or the spirit, or you're tunneling like whatever's over here. I don't even know what
Yeah.
you were focusing on necessarily. And then like you switch gears completely when this guy is finally in your range, and you switch to these guys chasing. Whereas you should just focus on timber chaining out and hitting the Spirit Breaker at the same time. That kills two birds with one stone, right? Like you get away
Yeah.
from these guys, and you also kill the Spirit Breaker, and you finish that off. So that's just information gathering and like using your spells correctly. There's no easy fix for that other than practice. So key things from that fight were just like really like what I've been talking about for like 20 fucking minutes, rambling on and on. It's just like trying to not let yourself like tunnel on stuff and just look for key targets to burst down. Like Timber is not a tank or anything like that. He's like a frontliner, but he's really there for damage, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So your target selection really matters. Okay.
And I noticed that a lot more on that weakness a lot more on Timbersaw because I feel like I don't execute on kills that people that like our mid player is a really good Timbersaw and he gets a lot more kills than I do as Timbersaw just because I think his decision making before fights and during fights for target selection, like you said, it's just way better.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I don't tend to find targets very well. But yeah, I just have to practice on that.
Yeah, I think once you're made aware of like the fact that information gathering is a skill that you can improve on, it becomes kind of a different game, honestly. Because then at that point, it's like it's not about you missing kills or whatever, or like you dying in a fight. It's like, why did I miss the kill? Why did I like? What caused me to make the decisions up until that point, and how can I change that? I think that's like a really huge thing for people.
And that's something that you can change like mid game. Like you can keep applying that during the same game, and just change it.
Yeah, and that also makes like games where you're just like getting crushed a little bit more bearable because it's like, okay, well, I can like at least I can improve on this little like tiny thing or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So what's going on here? I don't think you could have chased this guy, but let's see. All right. So this fight happens. Not really much to say. You get 2 kills. It's great. I guess PL was going for your storm here. That was like his objective. He probably has Spirit Breaker vision. Yeah, Spirit Breaker charging. Okay. Okay. So here you need to switch targets to Spirit Breaker right away. When this PL gets a haste, that basically means he's living no matter what you do. Doesn't matter how much you chase him, he's gonna get away.
Sure.
So yes, it's okay to like pressure him and chase him here because he's going for your storm. But once the Spirit Breaker kill becomes open, you should go for that instead. Like
Spirit Breaker was in the tower too. Like that's just why not go for that? Makes sense.
Yeah, it's much easier for you to kill him. It's like if you were turned right here, you Whirling Death, break the trees or whatever, Timber Chain, like he's gonna die. You have an anti-mage here as well though. If you slow him down, he's gonna go down. So yeah, that was a poor target selection again, but it's okay. Okay. So you definitely want to buy your arcanes at this point. I'm not sure what item you end up going for, but okay, yeah, good. It matters like quite a bit if you buy your arcanes a little bit sooner though. Okay. So like let's look at this again. I won't talk about this for too long, but
the whole Soul Ring debacle I think put me back a little behind. Messing up and getting the Tranquil Boots was just a stupid error on my part. I could have gotten them sooner.
But it's okay. I mean, that doesn't matter so much. What I was talking about though is like you had gold for Arcane Boots here, and you could have bought them before you did this camp. And when you increase your mana pool and then cast spells, it's much more efficient because then like 70 out of how much would you have? Like 750. Yeah, 70 out of 750 is a much smaller percentage than 70 out of 500. So like it's much more efficient to use your mana in that case. So you want to buy your arcanes as soon as possible. And also like you can use the active right away and just get more mana that way. So the cooldown starts counting down. Okay. That's like pretty minor, but I mean it matters. Okay. So you guys, I like to push bottom here. Enemy team is pushing top and mid at the same time, so you definitely want to be here. So this is good. Okay. Okay, Storm gives you some vision, that's great. Okay, so something really big just happened, and I'm gonna play it again, and I'll give you a hint, it's on the minimap. There's something that's like really, really important that you need to look at. Okay. Did you see it?
Do it again.
Okay, one more time.
Oh, the rotation.
Yeah. The key thing though is the hero.
Oh,
So one Spirit Breaker was not showing, so that's pretty important. But what I was talking about was he's gonna do a little movement here that you guys see. He runs down here, and at this point he leaves vision, and he's gonna go do something. When he leaves vision like this, you kind of have to respect him at that point, because like he could either be charging or TPing and charging. So you guys end up backing off here, which kind of sucks, but that's what you got to do really. You don't want to stay around here. Yeah, so you just gotta like constantly be looking out for this sort of thing. If they have global presence anyway. It sort of sucks that you guys couldn't get the tower. Yeah, but that's just kind of what happens if like somebody gets picked off and the enemy team capitalizes on it. Is they got a pick, they push top tower, and you guys responded by pressuring bottom tower, which is great, but you weren't able to like do much more than that. Um, yeah, so just like I think you get my point.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, another habit I want you to start getting into is just like when you see a fight happening on the minimap like this, just kind of glance over, like, and see what's going on. Just see like what spells are cast, because like two important things happened here. Lasso was used, and Chrono was used, and Witch Doctor ult was used. So it's three things. That's really important information for you, right? You know you can't get
Yeah.
Chrono Witch Doctor ulted. You know you can't get lassoed, so you can
They
still
have
push pretty safely.
not a ton of mana.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like try to get into the habit of like looking over at fights. Also that you know whether or not you can actually like come in and try to help or whatever. If you look early.
True.
Okay, so that's big. This looks good. Yeah, this is really good. This is really good. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Good catches by Kanka. At this point, you should have like been going pretty ham. You know they have no major CC up at this point. As soon as Cask goes in, or it goes out here, and it doesn't bounce, you're in the clear. Like, you can go crazy here. They have no more CC. They have no Firefly, no Chrono, no Cask. Like, just go ham. And these are not heroes that can just like surprise you with damage. Like Batrider takes a long time to ramp up his damage. Faceless Void is like a melee creep. Witch Doctor, if he doesn't have spells, he doesn't do any damage. So when you see these spells cast, you just go fucking in. Like you Timber Chain to this tree and just go in. Like keep pressuring them. Keep trying to do damage to these guys. You backed off for a second here, but yeah. That second definitely matters.
And again, like that, I need to start thinking Timber Chain first. I don't. So I'm like in the middle to give me better position to do more. I think that would have helped if I would have did that.
Yeah, usually. Definitely like be careful with it, but really like okay, so you can do that and you can just think of it that way. That's totally fine. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on like what the threats are in their team. Like if they use Chrono and Witch Doctor ult and Spirit Breaker ult and Firefly, like it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're in. Like and you're just like casting your spells and shit and going
Yeah,
in.
like that specific situation, since all those ults were down and Cask didn't hit like it was supposed to, just Timber Chain in and yeah, like you said, just go ham.
Yeah. So that's definitely like the reason Timbersaw is like so deceptively difficult is because he's squishy, and you also need to go in. Like that's just it's a hard combination. Like it's tough. But yeah, that's part of Dota. Okay, so you like to push mid here, which is good. You want to pressure this a little bit and then back off because they're respawning. Great. Looks like you guys saw Spirit Breaker. Okay. Definitely you want to get into the habit of just like when somebody appears on the map, you just want to glance at them really quick and check their items. Like this guy should not just get into your jungle like this and go on, whoever this was, anti-mage, I guess, without you checking his inventory or something. Or like seeing his
information. Yeah.
Yep, that's what it's all about. Okay. Okay, so we have like 10 minutes left. We can either continue watching this or we can talk about like heroes and stuff and like practice plans.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do heroes and practice plans for sure.
Okay, cool. So, just to recap for this game, it really was about like information gathering, minding your positioning in lane, like trying to find that sweet spot between like, okay, if they go on me, they're gonna tank creeps, or like I can trade with them or whatever. And I'm gonna say the other thing is just like information gathering. That's pretty general, but really I think that's specifically for you a pretty big problem that you can work on.
Okay.
Okay. So those two things are pretty important. Everything else was like, it was okay. Okay. So let me bring up trusty paints. All right, and I'll get your Dota buff. All right, so you want to play Offlane.
Mhm.
Okay. Typically, I usually for things like this is I'll give people like 4 to 5 heroes for their main role, and then like 1 or 2 in each of the others, just in case like somebody picks offlane or whatever. Usually there's some overlap, so you can practice an offlane hero while playing safe lane or whatever.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
perfect.
okay. Okay. Where's text? Okay. Okay. Make the fonts bigger. Okay, so what heroes do you like to play?
Um, Slardar,
Okay, that's a good one.
Timber,
Okay.
Beastmaster, Weaver.
Okay. How do I want to do this? All right, so I'm gonna give you like one pretty difficult hero to pick out of those, because like you listed Timber and Beastmaster, which are
Mhm.
both like pretty freaking complicated heroes. So I think you should pick one that you like playing most, and just try to like get really good at them, and then make the other ones a little bit easier, like Slardar, Tidehunter.
Okay.
Um, let's look at some others. Like
I
what's
picked up Phoenix too, which is probably not a good idea right now, but it worked for our team chemistry because we ran like a Void Witch Doctor,
Mhm.
which was effective in a lot of games. So I just picked it up because it was a cool pickup and it was working.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay. I
but
mean,
it's too soon to it's too soon. I
yeah,
didn't
he's pretty
understand his
tough.
kit completely, and yeah, he's really difficult. But
Yeah, he's certainly very challenging.
yeah,
Okay. So there's Slardar, Tidehunter. Are you cool with playing Tide?
yeah, I play a lot of Tide.
Okay. Yeah, he's one of my favorites for learning. He's one of those heroes where like he's a lot more nuanced than people think. He's not just like, you anchor smash and ravage or whatever. Like he's actually pretty
True.
tough. Okay. So what else are we looking at here? I mean, there's always like Centaur, although he's not picked very often, I don't believe anymore, which is kind of sad, because I, I
Yeah,
think
like
he's pretty
I
good.
was talking to a teammate about that, and I was like, I used to play Centaur, but if usually the case is if you're gonna pick Centaur, why not just pick Slardar? You know?
Yeah, it's like there are some specific cases where he's actually really good. Like if
Yeah.
you have a drow on your team or something and you need to stampede her out of danger, he's actually
Uh,
amazing, but he's still like I don't know. I can't even recommend him to people for practice, which really sucks, but that's just the way it is. How about Darkseer? Do you play him?
no, but I want to pick him up. I think he's
Okay.
really good for lane pressure. So
Yeah, I think Darkseer is good. His team fighting is actually really hard, and his laning is actually pretty hard as well. But what Darkseer teaches you is like he teaches you how to all-in people, and it's like know when you are safe because you put out so much fucking damage that they can't even walk near you. Like how Darkseers win some tri lanes is like they'll just triple Ion Shell level 1 and then like walk up with the creeps and like dive their tower and shit. Whereas like if he played passively and just Ion Shell the creeps, he would get zoned out. So Darkseer will be really tough, and he's honestly like very shitty in pubs, but I think he's worth investing a lot of time into. It'll probably be a net MMR loss until like you get a lot of games on him, but yeah, I think he's a good hero to learn if you don't mind that and you
okay,
just want to get better. Definitely pretty tricky though. So I mean these are fine. And also you don't have to like stick to this like it's a religion or whatever, but yeah. Okay. So what's your second favorite role?
I mean, since I played a lot of Nature's Prophet, I do like jungle stuff, but the reason I do
Okay.
jungle in pubs is just because it allows me to like not be affected by any bad decisions of my teammates and allows me to like kind of free farm. You know what I mean? So I can be like, and what I want to do right now is get out of my MMR range because I feel like the games that I play are just awful.
Okay.
Like it's just awful. But I don't know how important that is compared to like just getting better.
I
So
think
I don't know.
like if you get better, your MMR will increase, so you should just focus on that.
Okay, cool.
Um, like the system works. There are
Okay,
no like 5K players that are stuck at 2K or 3K or 4K. Like so don't worry about that. Just
true.
focus entirely on getting better,
Okay,
and you'll be fine. So I'm gonna assign you to carry
okay.
just because. Okay. So what carries do you like to play? You said you like Slardar, so we can put that in there.
Nakes. I like Nakes.
Okay, that's a good one. And that's honestly plenty. Like this is totally fine.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I like having heroes that carry over into different roles, just because you get to practice mechanics and play them a little bit differently, increase your understanding.
Cool.
Okay, what about supports?
Supports. Lion.
Okay.
Can you bring up the list again? Because
Oh
I'm
yeah,
more
sure.
visual
Yep.
than I am. Let's see.
What about CM?
Yeah, CM.
Okay. I mean that's plenty already. And
Okay.
so CM would be like your jungle hero,
Okay.
if that's the case, and that'd be fine. But these two are good. Like they teach you valuable lessons, I think, mainly about positioning, really. CM, there's a
Yeah.
little efficiency too, but yeah, okay. What about mid heroes?
Can you switch it back?
Yep.
Let's see. Mid heroes. I don't know. I haven't really played a ton of mid, so what would you
Okay.
suggest?
I mean, there's always Lena. Like, I don't know how
Okay.
popular she is right now. I'd imagine she's not very popular, actually. What's like a more current mid? I mean, there's Death Prophet. There is. What else is there? Not Invoker. That is a bad idea. I mean, I think Death Prophet and Lena are pretty like solid choices.
Okay.
Like, they're not meta really, but I don't really give a shit about that. Like, I
Yeah.
think they teach you solid lessons and they're good laners and they can scale well. So I think those would be fine.
Cool.
Okay. Since like this would be like your last choice probably, assume like just judging from your responses or whatever. As far as like what you would want to play in a game. So don't worry about this so much. Just like learning one is fine.
No,
Okay.
but this is good because I can focus on the smaller. I'm not overwhelmed, and
Right,
they're
right.
relatively simple, and I can learn basic mechanics without focusing on too much any other external stimuli, I guess,
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to
all
put
at
it.
once. Yeah. Cool.
Okay. So this looks like a pretty decent hero pool to me. I wouldn't worry
Yeah.
about like expanding it or whatever. Like the best players in the game weren't, or I should say like the people who got best the fastest. So people like Arteezy or whatever who just like they went from being an a Dota pub player, like random 5k scrub, to like arguably the best carry player in the world. Is you'll
Yeah.
notice their match histories all look the same. Like it'll be 50 games of Ember Spirit in a row, or like 50 games
Yeah.
of Invoker, and then 50 games of Death Prophet, and like that's there for a reason. I'm not saying you have to do that by any means, but I think a good pattern to go with is like 3 to 4 games of the same hero in a row, then switch 4 games here. So something like that. I don't know how often you get to play, but if you can play 3 to 4 games in a day, that's perfect. And
Yeah.
you can just switch heroes every day or whatever. Um,
Can I keep Nature's Prophet on that list, or is it just so? Is it too different?
I mean, you can, but it's my recommendation that you don't.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not gonna like kill you if you do. It's just like I definitely recommend playing more simple heroes. If I had like complete control, I would say you shouldn't even have Timber on it, to be honest.
Okay.
But I also don't like to like ruin Dota for people by just saying like only play super easy heroes. But
That makes
yeah.
sense. Okay.
Um, yeah. Do you have any like final questions or things you want to ask specifically or anything like that?
No, no, not right now. I think I just need to just play more and
Hmm.
work on these heroes that you suggested, and then I'll probably just schedule more time with you later just to like go over
Okay.
things, and I'll probably save replays that I have,
Yeah. No, that
questions
works.
about, or like there's something that happened that, but yeah, I'd like to check back periodically just to see progress or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
So,
That sounds good to me. Don't feel pressured by any means, though.
okay.
Just one thing for the replays, though. They expire within 7 days, so
Okay.
just try to keep that in mind. But yeah, so I'd say the number one thing that you should work on specifically, like it should be your focus, is information gathering. Like that is far and away the most important thing for you.
Okay.
And that's everything from like clicking on inventories to just moving your camera physically around while you're in lane to checking the minimap, all stuff like that. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, if that's it, then I think we should wrap things up. I'll save this and send it to you. If you have any questions or whatever, just feel free to Skype me.
Cool. Sounds good. I appreciate it, man. You give me a really good, man, a lot of useful information today. So
Okay,
thank
I'm
you.
glad. No problem.
Cool.
All right, well, take care, dude.
Yep. You too. Thanks.
Peace.